Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. Happy Sunday, guys. We are stepping into another chapter, another installment of a story that's been developing, and that story is Turning Point. Turning Point USA and Faith decide to start going after Candace very, very openly. You guys have seen this from Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, Johnny K, the black pastor that bursted onto the scene, calling her evil and demonic. And today I actually have a new pastor who's decided to go after her as well, not just with a little video clip, but also just in a few tweets, and I'll be showing you that as well. But here's the thing about all of this is that people are not buying it. People are not going to be fooled. People have woken up, and it's not happening like, oh, over a week, like, oh, let's just see what. No, as soon as this pastor said this, Johnny K, the black pastor, you remember him, right? This guy here, as soon as he said what he had to say, everybody jumped on it as being completely ridiculous, not something that he should be saying, not true, and I love to see it. I mean, this has backfired so much. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking at Turning Point. The silence was good enough. You're good. If you're going to say anything, address all the things that have been stated about you, you know? But instead, they went the other way, just straight to personal attacks, hiding behind God, hiding behind faith while they just do these personal attacks. Absolutely ridiculous. And towards this story, you know, I showed you this girl, right? Well, this girl, she was the one, if you don't remember, she said she went to a Turning Point event. She was very dissatisfied, and she started talking about how the pastors were all focused on Candace and Tucker and how ridiculous it all was. Well, she's back with another video that I'm going to be showing you because Johnny K decided it would be a good idea to attack her as well. Anybody who has something to say in disagreement with him. So I'll be showing you that too, but also let's just get into the story right now. Candace Owens says something in regards to that girl's story. The first clip that she made, she says, Operation Mocking Pastor has failed categorically. Younger generations are demonstrating spiritual discernment, and they see these fake pastors for exactly what they are. And she is correct. Charlie would have never wanted this. Charlie would have never let this sort of naked lying fly. 100%. I agree 100%. I mean, how quickly everybody clicked into this was astonishing. You know, usually I got to make a video. Sometimes you got to get into a space where you got to make like 5 videos for people to be like, oh, I didn't realize that. No. This time, everybody was just like, this is nonsense. This is nonsense right away. And that's a good sign. It's terrible that they decided to attack Candace, but it's a good sign. It's a good sign how people rebelled against this so quickly. Now, I'm going to show you what Johnny K had to say to that young lady. Now, Sarah Luna is not the person who made the video, that young girl that I just showed you. That's not her. She's somebody who was talking about this, posting the clips. And for some reason, you know, Johnny K just decided to get in her mentions and started talking about that young girl. He said, next time, just tag me. Hey, man, next time, just tag me. I'm not hard to find. This girl is acting. The girl in the video. He's saying she's acting. It's sad that you are feeling sympathetic for a troll. I've seen this technique so many times. This guy must be friends with Rachel Maddow. I've seen this technique. Oh, that person's acting. That wasn't real. And oh, also, they're a troll. I'm sorry you fell for that kind of thing. She can clearly care less about the legacy of Charlie Kirk and TPUSA, nor the truth of the gospel being preached. That's just, again, I said this to you guys last time. He was hiding behind Charlie. He was hiding behind the Bible. It was absolutely ridiculous. And he's just doing it again. He goes, you know, she's acting. And on top of that, she doesn't care about Charlie. She doesn't care about Turning Point. And she doesn't care about God. All right, guys, there's 3 things I need you to do. Like, subscribe, and go check out the Patreon. That's it. Get back to the episode. You know what you want to say. He wants to say it so bad. That young lady was a demonic entity inside of our doors. There are a dastardly deed that lady committed. That's the word of the day for Johnny K. There are people who secretly and some publicly who despise Charlie, and they are now gloating over Candace tarnishing his legacy. Yes, I called these people freaks. Williams Thomas, the swimmer, a loser, and a lot of policies, idiotic. So there you go. He's making sure to attack her, very concise, able to attack everybody he possibly can within just a few characters. You don't have that many characters when you're on X, right? So, good on him there, knows how to be concise. But, the fact that he just throws in, they're gloating now that Candace is tarnishing his legacy. Honestly, I have to say, I mean, who am I to say who's tarnishing his legacy and who's not? I don't really think I'm the person to say it. I really do think Candace is. I think Candace can make those kind of calls, but maybe the pastor who's a part of Turning Point Faith. Turning Point, the organization that was founded to have open dialogue with people who might despise, who might disagree, who might, whoever, to have open dialogue with these people, to talk to them very openly, not get disrespectful. You're working at, and you're working with this organization, and you've resorted to calling one of Charlie's good friends demonic and evil. And then when someone disagreed with you, you didn't say anything to them directly. You went backhandedly to somebody else and said that they were a troll who is lying. I don't know who's tarnishing this. I don't know who's tarnishing the legacy, but that doesn't quite sound like what Charlie wanted. Just a little bit. Who am I to say? But I don't know. Maybe that's not what he wanted. Maybe he wanted open dialogue. Just saying. Also, that young girl who he was talking about, she was also contacted by Lucas Miles, who is the senior director of Turning Point Faith. That shows you, again, I've said this before, they are cluing in to the fact that people are waking up to all of this. They're not buying it. They're not to be fooled. They're waking up. The senior director contacts this girl. Now, in the video clip that I have, she talks a little bit about that interaction, and it's pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. Let's jump over to her talking about it. I got 2 clips, and I'm going to explain some stuff on the way because she doesn't explain the conversation. She just shows the text message because, that's how younger people do things now. If they have something to show you, they show it for a second because they figure that you're going to pause the screen so you can read it. That's how they do things now, the younger generation. All right, let's jump in.
If you don't know, I'm the girl that made the video about TPUSA Faith and how my experience was awful and that I went there for faith-based politics and I got a lot of propaganda and a lot of hate and a lot of division from the pastor, John Manchukwu. That video is now going viral on Twitter and everyone has a lot to say about it, but not only that, but Miss Candace Owens actually reposted it. Thanks, Candace, big fan. But guess who else saw it? The speaker, John Manchukwu, and also, I got quite an interesting message from the senior director of TPUSA Faith that I thought I should share with everyone. Like, there's no closed doors anymore. We're gonna talk about it. First, John Manchukwu's response. He told me that I was acting. That's great. Good to know that if someone comes on and gives you criticism for bringing hate and division in a faith-based room, in a church, good to know that that's acting. Thanks for that. I'm also being called a leftist troll. The most ironic and funny thing that I've heard all year. I used to get bullied in school because of how conservative I was, so thanks. But now we'll get into the response of Lucas Miles, who is the senior director of TPUSA Faith, because honestly, I think this has a lot more depth than I originally thought. His response is way more detrimental to this whole situation than this guy. So in case you
So she just pauses the screen quickly. I'm gonna go into what the response was. Now she shows the response, right? And rather than me just reading it all, to sum it up, right? We're talking about Philadelphia here, okay? He basically says that you must be a full-blown supporter of Philadelphia because it is going to help the people there come to faith. So you have to be a supporter in order for them to come to faith. Now, here's a problem with what he's saying, or here's how it actually works. You know, I mean, I'm a baby in this. I'm only 3 years saved here, but for you to want somebody to come to God, you do not have to be a full-blown supporter of theirs. You could see what they're doing is wrong, and say, I want no part of that, and I hope that person finds God. And in fact, I'm going to go home. I'm going to do a little prayer for them as well. That's your responsibility. That's it. But you do not have to support everything they do. And he's trying to convince this young girl that she needs to support Philadelphia because it'll help those people come to faith, which is just, I don't know, man. It reeks of what Rob McCoy's sermons reek of. This weird PR campaign for that place. It's just this weird PR campaign where it's like you're just speaking. And the thing is, and we're talking about Philadelphia here, right? It's like this weird PR thing that they're trying to do for Philadelphia. But it's also a little bit sneaky because they're trying to align it with God. And that becomes so gross when you're trying to align it with the word. You know what I mean? And that's what they keep trying to do. And that's what this guy, Lewis Miles, tries to do with this girl. And she's not falling for it at all, as you can tell by this picture right here. That's literally what she's doing as she's reading these messages. It's ridiculous, but also very telling that one person had a disagreement that they know of because her video went viral, because so many of us were sharing it. And they actually one went and attacked her, like some good cop, bad cop stuff. One goes and attacks her, and then the other messages her privately to try and change her opinion. But instead of trying to change her opinion on Turning Point Faith, trying to change her opinion on the pastor that she saw, he's trying to change her opinion on Philadelphia. What? This is why so many people have woken up, because it doesn't make sense. It's so out in the open. It's so weird. And Candace just hit the nail on the head, calling it Project Operation Mocking Pastor. It is so perfect. That is exactly what's going on. Exactly. Let's hear the next clip that she has here.
Obviously. He then goes on to say, we work with 8,000 pastors. There isn't one sole TPUSA faith view on this. I wish that were true. I wish I could believe that, but I was calling out John Amanchukwu, and he's now calling me a leftist troll because I disagreed with what he said. So I find it hard to believe that you have other pastors in here that agree with me, because you guys clearly don't. And if I'm being called a leftist troll and many other colorful things for that, it's just hard to believe.
So that's her talking about the ending where he literally says, and I hope I can get a clear shot. Again, these young people do something different. I guess it's TikTok. I mean, that's how old I'm getting. I don't even know what app she's using when she's doing this whole thing. So right here it says, we work with 8,000 pastors. There isn't one sole TPUSA faith view on this. Again, going back to what Candace said about mocking pastor, it's like, of course there's one view on this. It's Turning Point. Of course there's one view. So what do you like, oh, there's 8,000 different pastors. Show me the pastor who sounds like Tucker Carlson. Show me the one that aligns with Candace Owens on this. I would please. The one that was aligning with Candace Owens the most actually passed away on September 10th. please, if there's another one, and Charlie wasn't a pastor, but he might as well have been, honestly. I think that might have been one of his next steps, quite honestly. He was incredible with the word, like breaking it down just like no other I've seen in my life. But yeah, that was her experience after her and think about how bad that, again, all of this is backfiring so much. They decide to go on these smear campaigns. They disguise them as sermons, but they're really smear campaigns. They're against Tucker and Candace. People figure it out right away. It backfires on them so much. And then what they should decide to do is attack and then actually message them privately and try to change their opinion with the most nonsensical attitude towards things. It's weird, man. Charlie was really the glue. He was the glue. He was the engine. He was the transmission. He was the oil. He was the windshield washer fluid. He was everything. Everything, man. He was the gas pedal. He was the shift. He was everything to this place. It's just falling apart. It's nuts. So we had more people who just weren't falling for this kind of thing. As you know, Mel, friend of Candace, she wasn't going for this whatsoever. And this is in response to Johnny K and what he had to say to Candace and to that young girl. She says, "Oh, we see you, big man." This lady doesn't play around. I would love, I don't know if she makes videos. I would love to see one of her videos. Trying to look all tough, pretending to defend Erica as you punch Candace. Let me ask you something, John. Where's your sermons defending Charlie when he was clearly being tormented by Philadelphia in the months before he passed away? When it was pretty clear that he could have used a legion of pastors defending him. Where were you then? That is an excellent question. Excellent question. Where were these guys? Isn't that something? Charlie's on Megyn Kelly saying, I'm getting all these texts. I'm getting all of this. Where were they? Making their speeches, going online, making sure to hit it hard. And when people didn't have the right idea about Charlie, they were going and John's messaging about this young girl here. Where was John doing that type of thing when Charlie needed it the most? Now he's gone. Fighting harder for Philadelphia than they are for Charlie. It doesn't make any sense, man. It's ridiculous. Again, more people just not falling for this kind of thing. Somebody else said TPUSA just had their Jeb Bush please clap moment with a pastor who tried to attack Candace. This kind of fall off only happens when you turn your back on what people know is true. That is well said. Very, very well said. And if you don't know about the please clap moment, that is Jeb Bush just fighting for his life. You know, he said something while he was doing a speech, and he had to just look at the crowd and just say, please clap. And if you don't remember, if you didn't see the episode, he has a please clap moment as well. Let me see if I can find that moment real quick. There it is.
Evil. That's what it is. And a big hand clap goes there. Don't get shy on me tonight.
And a big hand clap goes there. Don't get shy on me tonight. Oh, man. Listen, I do comedy, so I know that type of energy. When you say something and you think you're like, this is where they go ahead and laugh. And they're like, nah, we don't think so. Oh, as a comedian, you want nothing more to just be able to go, everybody laugh now. And everybody just goes, ha, 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 ha. Nope, doesn't work like that. It's terrifying. It's the worst. So that's what happened to him. He had his old Jeb Bush moment. I love that person said that. But again, people aren't falling for this kind of thing. Charlie is turning over in his grave by exactly the opposite. Charlie is turning over in his grave by exactly the opposite of what he would have wanted and allowed. This is disgraceful. Yeah, honestly, sadly, this is the opposite. I don't know who's greenlighting this. I don't know who's prompting this. And again, that's why Candace calls it Operation Mocking Pastor, because it's not happening on its own, right? When you see 10, 20 different people, 30 different people, and they're all saying the same thing, that's not organic. You know, what it's trying to put out to you is that all of these people who are just good and honest people have all came to the same good and honest conclusion, and you are not good or honest if you push against that conclusion that they've come up with. That's exactly what's happening here. They're trying to come to this whole thing. That's why I said you hear insults. You heard ignoring, you heard silence first, then it turned to insults. Then it turned to discrediting. Then when it couldn't be discredited, when she would bring receipts, then it turned to insults. Now it's going past insults. It's like we have to link ourselves to God, and we have to link her to the devil. That's what we have to figure this out, guys. That's exactly what they're trying to do. I mean, Operation Mocking Pastor is a perfect way of putting it, because they're all saying the same thing now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And somebody caught it. Somebody was like, Pastor Ryan and others and others are demonic, is what he said. And then the post was gone. But I knew who the post was about. It was about this guy right here, Ryan Visconti. Ryan Visconti. Listen, you're not going to hear me say too much nice about this guy, but I will say this at the top. Beautiful name. That's a beautiful name. If I could have been Coach Visconti, oh man, million subscribers. I'm telling you, beautiful, beautiful name, but not the greatest guy. Now, another person, they posted it as well, going back to Mel. She was like, Charlie Kirk was facing nonstop attacks from the pro-Philadelphia lobby in months before he passed away. Somebody find me one clip of these so-called spiritual men calling out those who spent countless hours tearing Charlie down during that time. Just one. But Candace demanding accountability in a clearly fraudulent and corrupt investigation, and these frauds all clamoring over themselves to attack her without mercy. All these men are absolutely ridiculous. And then she posted the clip, but the clip is gone. Mr. Visconti deleted the clip because people were catching on too fast. He was like, I'm just going to call her demonic, quick, fast, and in a hurry. I take my $7,000 and I'll just feel good about the rest of the day. That's what he thought was going on. No. That's not what happened. But here is what happened. Somebody decided he deleted the video, so we're bringing it back. Oh, whoever this person is, you're a superstar. They found the clip. They kept the clip. That's how bad the clip was. This person, whoever this guy is, he knew when he saw the clip, he went, oh, he's going to delete that in a minute. I gotta screen record this ASAP because he's going to delete this. I know he is. And he did. He couldn't handle the heat. Let's listen to it.
If you think about criticism and accusations and condemnation and complaining, those are things that are actually more associated with demonic spirits. So if someone really had the gift of discernment, they would realize that's not how they should be talking. Somebody tell Candace Owens that. Actual discernment is a byproduct of wisdom. And wisdom comes from the Holy Spirit, along with the fruit of the Spirit, like gentleness and kindness and self-control. If you think about criticism.
It's amazing. It's amazing how casual it's becoming. He goes, that's associated with demonic spirits. Someone tell Candace Owens that. It's like they're going to just start pumping it out real casual because they just want more and more people to understand that's what's going on. Again, you get 30 people, maybe more, maybe less. You get them all to say the same thing over and over again. And slowly there's an attempt, and I've said this before if you're a long-term watcher of the channel, but slowly there is an attempt to bend reality, to twist and bend reality, almost like a clown that's trying to make a balloon animal. They are trying to just, and they're like, here you go, here's the truth. And you're like, hold on a second. I asked for a dog. That's not a dog. You just made a sausage line. What is that? That's not what I asked for. And then you get fired as a clown. That's what happens. Then you get fired as a clown. But he's not going to get fired. You get fired for telling the truth. You don't get fired for lying. And then she had this tweet, and this is a more serious tweet. And again, this is the escalation of things. He says this is clinical. Now, okay, I can't see the video for some reason, but he's talking about Candace. This is clinical psychosis. Someone who talks and acts like this is more likely to be possessed by a demonic entity or a demonic spirit than a Holy Spirit. Candace needs Jesus, healing, and salvation. So just the fact that there's clearly a clip of Candace talking, and he's casually just saying that she has some kind of problem in her head. She has some kind of mind problem right away, and then suggests that she's actually possessed by a demonic spirit. That's what it gets to. It gets to that type of thing where it's like, well, there's clearly something wrong with them. You know what? And then it turns into, and we've seen this before with Mr. West, then it turns into, I'm worried. I'm worried about that person. Yeah, because clearly there's a problem there. I mean, if something did happen, I don't know. I don't even want to say it, but it gets into that type of conversation. Then it gets into the conversation of, you know what? Someone really needs to step in and help her. We're just worried about you. It gets into that type of conversation, and they're inching it there. But again, people are not falling for it. Matthew 7, false prophets. And thanks, shout out to the person who posted this. You need to read this. If you're going to get into the word, false prophets, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but underneath are ravenous wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? If you don't know what those are just sharp, prickly things that you wouldn't want to stick your hand into. Just so, every good tree bears good fruit, and a rotten tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a rotten tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. By their fruits you will know them. That is a perfect way of putting it. When you look at what these guys are doing, listen, I'm not a saint or anything like that. I'm not a heavenly saint and angel. These are headphones. This is not a halo. Okay. I'm not rocking my halo in a cool way. That's not what's happening here. But I do know people by their fruits, looking at how everything's gone down in the past, months, year. I look at Ian. I used to question Ian. I look at Ian now and I'm like, you can tell by the fruits that this guy's actually solid. Some people were like, oh, maybe he's this, maybe he's that, maybe he's affiliated, maybe he's a plant or something. And now you look at the fruits after so long and you're like, nah, I don't think that's what's happening. Say the same thing with Candace. And say the same thing with Tucker. You look at Tucker's dad's past, but then you look at Tucker and what he's willing to push against. And I'm like, okay, that's good fruit there. That's all of that's really good. You will know them by their fruits. If they're coming out and doing the same tactics that we were just looking at a year ago, going, this is clearly not true. You're just, what happened at Butler is weird. What happened here is weird. You just look at the people who are all of a sudden saying, this is nothing to worry about. This is not something to look into, when it clearly is. How many times have we seen that? And in perfect form, Johnny K, he does not disappoint. This is what Johnny K had to say, right? We just read about you'll know them by their fruits, bearing good fruit. This is what he has to say, okay? He says, watch and listen to podcasts, but you need to be submitted to your pastor. In case you guys don't know, he's a pastor. So he's saying you need to be submitted to someone like me. not someone like Candace. That from the first line, I can tell that's exactly where that's going. And frequently attend Sunday services and studies. Podcasters aren't responsible for your soul, but your pastor is. Now, I know he's quoting scripture there, but I will say something because I do have experience. And if you're watching this right now, I'm at church. Okay? I recorded this very late. I am at church right now. Your pastor is not responsible for your soul. You are responsible for your soul. The pastor will bring you passages, will bring you word, will put you, you're in community, but you have to go into the word. You have to decide to make the right decisions. You have to decide to ask for discernment, to ask for strength and faith, and you have to do all that. That's on you. The pastor doesn't carry you through that big journey it takes to become somebody who is having a relationship with God. That's not on that. The pastor helps and the pastor can provide guidance, but he is saying it like you have to be submitted to someone like me, and a person like me is responsible for your soul, trying to position himself as the perfect person for you to listen to. So if he decides to call someone evil and demonic, well, I mean, he's doing that completely. I mean, that's just for our own good, whether we know it or not. Somebody who's trying to align themselves with God, not in a good way, in a way of authority. And that's always rubbed me the wrong way. Then he says, then I will give you shepherds after my own heart who will lead you with knowledge and understanding. Well, that was Charlie. Listen, I'm going to say straight up, that was Charlie. That's not Johnny K. Again, know them by your fruits, by their fruits. You could look at Charlie's fruits. It's turning point. That was the tree. He was the tree bearing good fruit. The tree's now rotten. It's bearing bad fruit. Why? Because someone else took over. I'm not talking about Erica, because when it comes to turning point faith, she doesn't exactly have control over that. She could fire a bunch of people, but she doesn't know that there's actually a problem quite yet. When the knowledge and understanding of your pastor, which should be grounded in scripture, clashes with your favorite podcaster. This is Operation Mocking Pastor. I mean, Candace hit the nail on the head. Clashes with your favorite podcaster. Who do you follow and adhere to? Is who is ultimately leading you. This is where the rubber meets the road. Clap for me, y'all. Don't be shy now. Don't be shy now, y'all. I just said something real big there. You understand? Go ahead and clap for me now, please. Besides, most of these podcasters use the Bible as a prop, crosses as decoration, and they never attend church, never follow a person who can't identify someone that they are submitted to. You have been warned. This is so interesting because who would you be submitted to in this situation? Like, forget about what your actual belief is. Who would you be submitted to? Would it be Johnny K? Would it be Candace? Or would it be God? Like, what are you talking about? You're saying that you should be submitted to? As a pastor, he's putting this out. And he's not even, when it comes to a conversation of who you should submit to, he doesn't bring up God and he brings up himself. What are we doing here? And then again, and I hope you appreciate these little breakdowns because I have to do it when I see this kind of thing. And again, they use the Bible as a prop, crosses as decorations. They never attend church. This is a perfect example of accuse them of what you're guilty of. Because he himself, in his attack, has used the Bible, maybe not as a prop, but as a shield. He will say something and then shield like this and go, that's why I did it because of this. There you go. And if you're against me, you're against this. That's exactly how this works. And you never go to church. Who should you have submit to? You've been warned. He's warning you. Submit to someone like him. Do not listen to Candace. You've been warned. Man, goes deep, goes very, very deep. And again, when you have many people dozens sometimes, maybe even hundreds if it gets really antsy. And I think at this point for Candace, it is at hundreds of people all parroting the same thing. You have to be wary. I always say, be wary when people start speaking in unison. When something happens, like what happened to Charlie, and then you say, well, I mean, this is maybe odd. I don't know. I mean, I want to hear about this. And everybody who was friends with him, everybody who usually covers really important things and digs deeper, starts going, nothing to see there. Hey, listen, do you know what happened here? And you're like, hold on, but I heard a thing from XYZ person. And they say, no, don't listen to those people. They're silly, they're evil, they're demonic, they're nuts. But do you know about this thing here? Be very wary of those people. Anyways, guys, on a high note. Anyways, guys, happy Sunday. Have a great rest of the weekend, the hours that you have left. And I'll see you on Monday. I'm out of here.